Okay. Hello. My name is Tracy Bryant Swinton, better known as Tracy, the Sacred CEO, formerly known as Tracy, the Queen of Bee Steam. And I am coming to you with this free masterclass, Healing Through Ancestral Trauma, the Metaphysics of the Womb. I wanted to bring you this webinar, this course, this masterclass, because it is preferably a new year, and we have a lot of new goals that we have created for ourselves. But what I really understand is that there is a lot of blockage that's associated with many of us due to unresolved trauma. Not only our unresolved trauma, however, much of our trauma is not even our own. You know, we have something called strongholds. So much of our trauma is not our own. Many times we can't quit doing a thing, or we can't shake a thing, and we're like, what is this thing over me, right? Like, we're either overeating, or we're a little more promiscuous than usual. We just can't stop going for the good vitamin D. It's just all kind of situations. It could be cigarettes, it could be alcohol. You've tried things, you've done, you've taken medications, you've done this, you've done that, you did, you've gotten help, you did this, you've done all of these programs and gotten into all of these different classes and services, and still you just can't shake this gnawing thing that I think they call it a thorn in your side. You remember our grandmothers used to say that, a thorn in our side. All right. So we're going to get some understanding. I'm going to go ahead and share some wisdom about what is this? What is this stronghold? What is this? What is ancestral trauma, and how does it affect us? Okay. So let's go right in. I'm going to share my screen. Right. So tell me if you can see my screen, ladies. Tia, tell me if you can see the screen, baby.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. All right. So, are you being called to heal your ancestral trauma? That's the first question. All right. Many of our issues that we have, that we're dealing with, are not our own. Many of us are dealing with strongholds. A stronghold is a thing in our life that we can't seem to get rid of. It just won't let go. Okay. They come in the forms of habits and addictions. I'm not simply speaking of drug addiction. I'm speaking of repeat patterns that we cannot shake. Relationships, abuse, food, alcohol, lying, poor money habits, drugs, smoking, the need for validation, stealing, all of these things. I think I've probably passed the whole gamut of them all and throughout my experiences. Okay. So the list can go on and on, right? I'm not coming here to bring you any shame. We are here to simply find and develop solutions, right? Because coming into this new year, we have a lot of desires and a lot of goals, and we've probably had some of the same goals that we've been desiring for years to come. Like, how many times have we started the new year with the same resolution, the same goal? Like, this year I'm going to lose weight again. You know what I'm saying? Like, every year we're losing the same 50, 60, 30 pounds. Each year it's the same thing. So why can't we just get over that hump, right? So the list can go on and on. It's like you have made up your mind, you have vowed to never have this experience again, and something rises up inside of you, and it's almost like a possession. Okay, you do the thing over and over again, and you feel terrible. We beat ourselves up, and then we feel hopeless. And then how do we justify it? By saying, well, That's just who I am, right? All right. So, well, I'm here to tell you and to teach you that it's not all your stuff. True enough, you have your issues, and your issues and your personal trauma has compounded the DNA and the generational afflictions within your DNA memory. So really, all of your issues, all of your trauma have just, all it's done is just, it's layers. So it's another layer to the existing generational family trauma. All right. So, and it's coming up in your DNA memory. So what if I told you that you can change this? Do you believe you can change this? Because we've done a lot. We've done a lot of things. We've tried a lot of things, and it ain't going to swell. It's going to swell. Maybe because we haven't got to the point of origin. Okay, so we have to definitely get to the point of origin. Excuse me. We have to get to the point of origin so that we can get to some solutions and some resolutions. Okay, so are you being called to heal your ancestral trauma? How many of you would say you're being called to heal your ancestral trauma? If you feel like you're being called to heal your ancestral trauma, put a 1 in the chat. I even put a 1 in there, because I know I know I'm here to heal my ancestral trauma. I'm doing it now. Woo, it's some work too. It's some work. How many of you actually feel as though you are the one in this generation that came to actually do the healing work for the ancestors as well as the descendants? If you feel that, I know, Shannon, honey, you tired, I'm tired too. If you feel like that, I need you to go ahead and put a 2 in the chat. If you feel like your part of your soul contract is to help restore some healing between the ancestors and your descendants, you the chosen one. Okay, if you feel you the chosen one, put a 2 in the comments. Okay. All right, I see the 2s. I see the 2s. I know this is some work, honey. This is not no easy work. Being the chosen. Being the chosen one is not it is not easy work. Very emotional, very emotional. I can remember times where I have went in front of my ancestor altar, honey, and I have been cussing and fussing. You know, I done came to him and be like, well, what the hell was y'all doing? Y'all was here because y'all, look, this is too damn much. I ain't come here for all this. And they just be laughing. They be like, there go that crazy one again. I poured him a tequila shot. I take me a tequila shot and pour them one. And be talking cold smack at that ancestor altar, honey. Yes, trying to understand this mission that I've been assigned, right? All right, so let's go in right in. How ancestral, let's talk a little bit about what is ancestral trauma, okay? Ancestral trauma is the behaviors, the characteristics, and the pain of things that have happened in our generational line. It's been passed through DNA and cellular memory. All right, so what happened to grandpa, what happened to grandma, what happened to auntie, what happened to cousin, you know? It's interesting because I always didn't have this life. Okay, my past is one that's very gritty. I know a lot of people probably couldn't have withstand some of the stuff that I have withstood, you know? So just to give you a little, you know, I'm gonna be transparent with all of you, is that I was sexually abused starting at the age of 6. And I didn't know I was sexually abused at 6. I didn't quite understand what sex was or what was being done to me at the time. All I know is that I wanted to go to the store and buy candy after he was done because that's what he said he was going to do. So I didn't know if I was supposed to feel bad. I didn't know if I was supposed to feel good. I didn't know anything because I was too young to really understand what was going on. However, as I began getting older, I started noticing it's like once a female or male, doesn't matter, once a person experiences sexual abuse, it's kind of like they end up having an energy on them that kind of attracts the predators now. It's unfortunate because it's like once it happens, somewhere down the line, it continues to happen by other predators. Other predators are attracted to you and do things, you know. So starting at 6, came up again around 9. Then when I was 9, I kind of knew a little more about what was going on because my body started having sensations, right? Started my menstruation right around 10, 11, right around 11. So now my body's going through puberty, okay? So with that, once I got between 10 and 12, I started experiencing sexual abuse. It was in my home with my mother's boyfriend. And at that time, because I was experiencing puberty, I was feeling sensations. And I didn't want it at all. I didn't accept it, you know, willingly. However, I still had sensations. Why? Because I was going through my stage of puberty. So with that, it led me to start self-medicating, meaning that I started taking hard drugs like at 11 and 12 years old. Like I was really needed to numb myself, okay? So with with the drugs came a lifestyle, right? So I was in a different lifestyle. I was in a very lawless lifestyle, a very low frequency lifestyle. It encompassed drug abuse, robbery, stealing, sex, alcohol, you know, the fast cars, money, it was just a whole whirlwind. Sex, lots of sex, a whole whirlwind of action-packed, high impact, dangerous experiences, right? So in my family, I thought because no one else was doing that like me, because when I went all the way in, y'all. You hear me? So no one else was doing it like me. However, even though they weren't doing it like me, in my family, they looked at me as the outcast, the black sheep, the dark one. You know, I was as light as I am. I was considered the dark stain of the family, you know, because of my experiences and how I was carrying myself out there in that world, in the streets. And nobody could attest it to anything. It was just like I was a lone ranger. Nobody in the family went as deep as I did in them streets, in that world, right? However, so I'm thinking all this time that I'm just the family fuck up. I'm just the family fuck up. Like I just couldn't get it together. I just can't get it together. I don't know what's wrong with me. You know what I'm saying? And when I experienced sexual abuse and I told my mom told my grandma, and then from that point, I can remember my mother telling me like a few years ago while we were adults, when we was discussing it, she said, you know, I had to ask my mother, do you believe Tracy? Because remember, she was on those drugs and she was out there in the streets and she was doing this and that. I said, Mom, did you ever stop once to ever think about why I was doing hard drugs? Did you ever stop once to think about why I was running? Did you ever stop to think that the abuse is what triggered that, not the other way around? So I say that to say, as I got a lot older and I started working on and developing my changes in my emotional matrix, my psychological matrix. I started doing my work. I started healing, right? I started doing my work. I started making the effort to honor my wrongs and make things right with myself, get right with, my God, get my spirit right, get my body right. You know what I'm saying? Change my lifestyle. So as I'm doing this now, 10 years ago, I was able to connect with more extended family. In connecting with more extended family, I ran up on a cousin who I had just met during that time of running up on extended family 10 years ago. And he happened to be the family historian. He had all of the information and all of the documents about our family. He was really big on Ancestry.com, and he had found a lot of information about our family coming from Puerto Rico, they were coming on a boat to Hawaii, how they set up shop in Hawaii, how my great-great-grandmother met my great-great-grandfather on the ship, how she was 13 and she stowed away, and how she wasn't on the census when they was on the ship coming over to Hawaii, but once they got off and went on the train, she was on the census as being my great-great-grandfather's wife. Like, he knew the whole story. He knew all of the aunties, the great aunties, my great-grandmother's sisters. He knew how many kids everybody had. He knew which kids had passed and transitioned through miscarriage, through stillbirths. Like, he had all of the information, right? So just about 5 years ago, I go to Florida to visit him during his birthday, because now me and him are conversating close. I go to visit him, and we have some cocktails and food and everything. He pulls out pictures. He shows me his mother, his grandmother, his great-grandmother, who is my great-grandmother's sister. And we're talking, and he shows me and tells me about the aunties. Now, they came from Puerto Rico. He said they didn't go to school. They didn't know how to read. They didn't know how to write. One of the aunties had tattoos all over her arms, and they used to go to the port in Hawaii to go pick up sailors. And I'm listening going, what? So yeah, they used to go to the port in Hawaii, pick up sailors. That's how they made their money. I'm like, okay, so they was okay. They was some hoes. One of them was addicted to cocaine. The mother had given her to the boyfriend who was selling it. Like, it was all these stories that helped me to understand why and how I connected with the life I had connected with after the sexual abuse. It started to make sense. And I know that sounds crazy, but it started to make sense, because here I thought that I was the only one, the only Black stain of the family, and come to find out it's a whole bunch of other aunties that was hoeing, getting high, robbing tricks, and doing selling dope, all kind of stuff before me. Now, these are my great aunties, but I never got that story. So with that, it took me down a rabbit hole where I needed to know more about how does this ancestral trauma get passed and how does it become activated? All right, so ancestral trauma is activated through behaviors that awaken the DNA memory on a cellular level. Ancestral traumas is activated through behaviors that awaken the DNA cellular memory on a cellular level. So let's talk about the activation. So I'm going back now and I'm thinking about what activates the drug use? What activated my running? What activated my choices of being in that lawless lifestyle? What activated was the sexual abuse, which also is a pattern in our ancestral DNA. So when he explained to me that his mother, his grandmother, gave his mother to her boyfriend, who was the financial contributor. He was the financial, he took care of the house. Because you got to remember, about 3 generations back, women didn't own property. Women didn't have jobs. Women couldn't do a lot of things. We had to depend on men. So he was a drug runner and sold drugs and took care of the family. So when he said, I guess he wanted the daughter, she gave up her daughter so that they could continue to survive, which is what? Sexual abuse. It's all around betrayal and sexual abuse, being dishonored by her mother. And maybe her mother didn't feel like she had enough skills or anything within her to take care of the family. Or maybe she had just gotten comfortable with him doing it. But I know at some point, a mother has to feel something when you give up your daughter, okay? So I'm not saying that that's the first part of where the actual sexual trauma started, but what I'm saying is it is there. It is there and it's deeply rooted and connected to drugs. My sexual abuse was awakened and activated through the behavior of the predator, and then the drugs was also connected to my sexual abuse. So do you get where I'm going with this, ladies? The ancestral trauma is activated through behaviors, and behaviors awaken the DNA memory on a cellular level. All right. How our birth story creates our identity. Okay, so I want you to hold that thought about the ancestral DNA in the memory. I want you to hold that thought because we're going to get back to it. But right now, we're going to talk about how our birth story actually creates our identity. And I know you're trying to figure out, well, how does our birth story have anything to do with our identity? It has a whole lot to do with our identity, because in the first 5 minutes of birth, we are given our names, our gender, our race, our religion, and our culture. In the first 5 minutes of birth, we are given our identity. Do you understand that? We think we come here autonomous and we are who we are. No, we are given our identity the time we come out the womb and make it here and land on planet Earth. We are told who we are, what our gender is, what our race is, what our religion is, and our culture. I know on my birth certificate it says Tracy Roshan Bryant, female, Negro, Catholic. That's my makeup, right? Okay, let's go a little bit deeper with our birth story, creating our identity. We're also identified by our family, meaning which family you come to, which bloodline are you attached to on this realm. That also creates your identity. Okay, think about it. I got some people I know, they say their family name, honey, everybody know their damn family name in Ohio. She said, all you got to do is say her family name in Ohio, and everybody be like, woo, like, woo. How many of y'all got a family like that? Do any of y'all got a family like that? Say the family name, and everybody go, oh shit, yeah, we know them. It's a bunch of them. family name. Come on, somebody. I know somebody here got a family name, honey, attached to a big old crazy ass family. Or you could be attached to a family of doctors, a family of lawyers, a family of seamstresses, a family of chefs, a family of farmers, you know, and it has a last name attached to it. So even though we think we come in here, we're going to be, you know, with this person, no, you are also attached to your family. Your family what? Tree. You are attached to your clan, your tribe. So this is your original tribe. But you know, as we come here, we end up branching off and we go find our tribe. Because what happens is we end up creating a new family as we truly begin to find out who we are and start knowing thyself. When we start changing and no longer attaching ourselves to the behaviors of the clan or the tribe or the family, the bloodline that we was born into. See, something shifts in us because at first we doing everything just like them. We acting just like them. We believe just like them. Our lifestyle just like them. We eating like them, drinking like them, smoking like them, thinking like them, handling our stress like them. We doing all of that just like the clan we came in here, the bloodline we came here with, right? We attached ourselves to. The ones we made the contract with. We all gonna go down that earth and we all gonna make X, Y, and Z happen. Some of us forget that sign. Many of us right now forgot that sign. Some of us say, I'm changing the contract. I'm gonna amend the contract. I'm doing something else. I'm getting away from these fools over here. Okay? Or some of us is like, you know what? I'm gonna deal with them as long as I can, but I have to create boundaries because I still came here with the contract to help heal the family, right? That's my case. That's my case. I've created very heavy, tight boundaries, but yet I'm still that chosen one to create the healing for the family so that I can leave it, the legacy, to the next person in the next generation, the descendants that's going to take up the healing. There's one in every generation, at least one. All right. So that's how our birth story creates our identity. What else creates our identity? Let's let you know, and you'll know more about this a little later, is the alignment of the stars, the alignment of the planets, and your birth date. Your birth date, the day you were born, the month you were born, and the year you were born is very, very significant. Very significant. Especially when you do the numerology, okay? Especially when you see where the planets was aligned, as well as when you think about the year and what type of events and social constructs were going on in the world at that time. It is very much attached to why you came at that certain time, day, and year. All of that matters, right? All right. Let's talk about DNA and epigenetics. DNA and epigenetics. And I hope some of y'all got y'all pen and paper, honey, because you know when y'all come on here with me, we doing it. We gonna do it. We gonna get it in, right? All right. DNA and epigenetics. We can define epigenetics as a study of the biomechanisms that switch genes either on or off. Okay? Every human being has a vast collection of working units called cells. Each cell gets its instructions on how to work from a chemical called deoxyribonucleic acid, which is DNA, right? So each cell gets its instruction from DNA. Epigenetics is the biomechanism that switches the gene pool on and off. So epigenetics is what activates the actual DNA to where it wakes up your cellular memory to where the behavior gets attached and it awakens the what? Ancestral trauma or the stronghold. The stronghold, right? All right. So this cycle continues emotionally in our birth story, in our relationships, in our capacities, in our mental and mentally, through beliefs and ways of being. Your parents and ancestors have deep pains that play out through your DNA and your children, marking your lives until one person helps to resolve and heal the deep trauma on a soul, emotional, genetic level, right? Okay, so let's go in a little bit and let's talk a little, have a little discussion here. Are there any questions thus far? Any questions, comments, concerns, or anything anyone wants to discuss? No one? All right, all right. So let me share with you. So since we are on the discussion of things that I recognize that have been passed down through my ancestors, would anybody like to come and share some of their ancestral strongholds or things that they recognize about themselves or things that they recognize in their children that have come up that you know is definitely something that's passed down through the DNA, through the gene pool? Because just like we have shared trauma, we also have shared positive experiences. Wait. Hello, I hear somebody. Come on, Shannon, baby.
Honey, so happy to be here. As all I can say is emotional blessings.
Share your video. Share your video.
I love y'all, and I give you as I am. This is me. I mourned Georgia. God, I left Georgia 9 days ago. I mourned an ancestral mourn with my mother's ashes. My son helped me chop that ponytail, you know, with the storm. And you know how it is. People thought I still lived in Atlanta. And I'm like, I was in Louisiana 10 years. I just work all the time. Right. But sharing the things that you said, it was like listening to my oldest son, who for years I called my test monkey. And for us, it's literal for Sean. And when you talked about birth signals and that door that opened when that birth trauma, when you awaken those things. So realizing when my mother died, and she actually just finally was at peace. She felt unfaithful in those last days, and she said that to me. And I knew she was devout. You know, we've all gone through different experiences. When you realize that you're a woman at conception, when you're conceived in fear and trauma, and I just said this to my youngest son. God bless that Georgia baby. He's going to be 18, 19, and I'm still here to see it.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, realizing, helping family through trauma and reliving your childhood and reliving grief, losing my father, you know, the things that you said are so close to so many women. And I love that you empower that it's okay, that this is new. This is brand new. It's okay to be transparent and have integrity and have righteousness. But that growth, when you talked about those signs and when you noticed. I had a reading in Sulphur, Louisiana.
Okay.
Someone I didn't know, looking for herbs and wormwood and sage, had just come back home. I think when we had met, when you said 10 years, 10 and 20 is a big deal number wise for our bloodline. And when you realize that the souls before you, they had their own stuff. They had their own stuff, like you say, it's the residue. It's all that, it's ancestral, and you can't talk. Well, we are capable of speaking about it, but in terms of the method of delivery, the state we might be in, I mean, I might be in the middle of molting, and like this, and it's fresh to me. So when I say it to people, when you speak ancestral, it's a little deep. But when you talk culturally, and the things that you knew in the first 5 minutes of your life, my son, no doubt, 9 days ago, my oldest, who would have been a middle child, for not free will and sacrifice and things that we did. But in Sulphur, 20 years ago, this angel told me that in my bloodline, there was a healer, or she wasn't called that. I don't think that was the first reference that she said to me. And I know it wasn't, but she had an altar, and I asked about it before we went in there. And every time I've asked for some guidance, from somebody, even a communal effort, like you have a community tonight, it just comes out freely. And she said that. And I realized that why my mother, as a Catholic, as a Creole Catholic, had to hide those remedies, had to keep those secrets away from this Houston, Texas born husband whose mother, was sent to New York, Columbia Medical. I'm finding out now all these things, or they're not circumstantial, they're cultural, because it's a Methodist hospital. You graduate McNeese, you have a job, but you have to sit in the car every time your nursing class in the 50s went in to eat somewhere, but yet we're going to send you somewhere because you're pregnant out of wedlock. Give them a different name.
Yeah.
We get confused in the ancestral DNA.
That's what they did. That's what they did back then. You went off to school, came back with your cousin.
What? Yeah, it's like hey, you've got a degree, you've got a job, you've got a flat in Jamaica, Queens.
They lied. Listen, and they hid a lot of things, and many of us have family secrets that are still tearing up the family. Them family secrets are something.
What do we do? That's my question, I guess, because at 52, and I can tell whoever's out there that I am so happy to see your face and be here, because for an only child who is the oldest of 19, the oldest living of, well, my mother had tried 18 times to have me that I know about, like you were speaking, the ones that were documented, the ones I know about.
Right.
So to find out that her mother, who at my age conceived my uncle, it's such a mess. Nobody's speaking to anybody. And you have to put these pieces together, was the oldest living of 19 children. So I'm an only child, not knowing what to do with this woman's ashes, who made me promise 3 things, because she didn't want all the hoopla and the I don't even know why they care, because you know what? The grief, everybody has to deal with it in their own way.
And grief is a very, very strange emotion. It's
anger,
it's sorrow, it's painful.
You're happy. It's
one
bipolar.
day you're happy. Like it's a very inconsistent, unpredictable roller coaster ride.
Yeah. But
it really, really is. But you can't let it go in on you, because when you do, you start getting
I feel deflated. And I think hearing my oldest son, Neiman, say to me, and look me in my face, because, we are entrepreneurs. We, what do you want to do? You want to see the world, or you want to, we got options, but what do you really want to do? Because when you're at that point where you demand to have your hands on whatever is going on in this body, in this lifetime right now, it's necessary to have those very candid conversations. And you said something about the grief and how the trauma and the age. And when you had that conversation and the mother, and I knew you couldn't see my chats, I didn't understand, but maybe they were meant to be later. But my son said the same thing to me because he didn't know answers and I didn't have answers because I've lived my life to try to be whatever I needed to be. Now, I had my own needs, but then you have those branches, like you said, that extended family that for some reason, black sheep or not, they so happy to see you. They motivated, you lift them and don't even realize you at your lowest, didn't want to go, don't want to be there. And somebody's like, man, you always lift me. And you're like, but he said to me, I'm acting like this because I'm your child. I'm you. I'm you.
Wow.
So when you look at a career and you're talking about a man he's going to be 32. His older sister is, I don't say halves and steps anymore because now that I realize, God forbid, when I talk to my daddy's first cousin in Houston, he said there's a lot to discuss. I know him, but DNA don't lie, and to have them look you in the eye and even sit next to them in those moments, Broad Street, Lake Charles, God love it, we're gonna come back, but to look in your face and say, when you're talking with friends, and I'm listening as a mother, but the cool mom, of course, to be there to hear his thoughts of being there when the woman who raised you died. He was in that house. I was out there, next day I'm moving from this one to the next one. There are a lot of things that happen while people are sleeping. Other countries don't sleep at night, but in terms of that PTSD, the unknown of what he actually has been through, to hold a family together, to be, whatever drug abuse he's fighting, whatever physical abuse he may have suffered, or and psychological warfare, you ain't touched on that. So that's my question. That's my question for you is, when you were mirrored with you, but also your creation and the residue of such that is survival, the next steps, I feel my skin right now is the only thing holding me together. So that's my question.
Well, I want to send condolences to you and the family first off, and tell you that I'm sending you energy of love, healing, recovery, and grace during your time of grief. Because remember, all pain has to work through the body and come out. And what happens is how we end up with disease and discomfort is because we keep the pain held in. And that creates cancer, that creates, lung disease, it creates heart attacks, it creates all of these different diseases that break down the body. But it's interesting you say how your son was a mirror for you. You had to look at that, right? Because just today, me and my son were talking on the phone, and he brought up something that I did during my addiction. And because he's on his healing journey right now. Now, see, I have to say this, Goddess, I'm not the queen of these things just in the womb minister just because I gave myself that name. Understand, I did a lot of work to get here. One of the things that I did is when my kid, in my addiction, in that lifestyle, in that whole lawless living, I also had children during that time. So I am expressing my trauma, my generational and ancestral trauma, and now I'm also activating my kids. I'm activating my children. So now that I'm pretty much got a lot of it out and a lot to get, a lot more together, not saying I'm totally healed because it's a journey, it's not a destination. Even though I'm here in this space now and doing this work, My children are still dealing with the stuff I activated in them because I didn't know no better.
Mhm.
I didn't know no better.
Mhm.
So now I have to sit through them telling me the fucked up shit I did, and I have to listen. And it's okay. And I listen, and my body do this. I could feel it like, oh, yeah, I did that. Oh, yeah, I wish I could take that back. Oh, yeah, I did that. And my son told me today, and when he was speaking with me, I said, yeah, son, that was pretty fucked up. I want to apologize to you again. I was really in my addiction then. And as he was talking about it, he kept talking about it, kept talking about it. And then he said, okay, I gotta go. I said, no, I'm okay. I can listen. I said, I can listen. I'm here for it. I'm not running. Like this is my other part of doing the work. My other part of doing the work is healing my kids' shit that I participated in. That's part of my work too. And most of our parents, they ain't gonna do that. Our parents, I know my mom, honey, is getting denial, honey. She got selective memory. She don't remember nothing happened. She don't want to say it happened. She ain't gonna admit it happened. She be like, oh, man, it's always a whole nother story, right? But me, because I am the chosen one, that means I have to sit through uncomfortable conversations of where I was in a very dark and ugly place, and it came through, and it happened with my children. You see what I'm saying? So now I'm helping them now to heal through being there and participating in these conversations. And I've even told some of them, I want to go get some therapy. Come on, let's go. I'm ready. I'm ready. Me and my daughter went through therapy for about 2 months, and then she finally was like, Mama, I can't do this shit with you no more. I don't want to keep reliving this. She left. I stayed in there about 3-4 years, so yes. So I need all of us sometimes, we need to think about how this ancestral trauma has triggered us, how it has welled up, and we've lived it out. And not only was it activated in us, and how we're activating our children, because that's how it's passed. It's passed through the activation, right? All right, thank you. Come on, Shannon. And then I'm gonna let Regina
quick.
come on.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm gonna let her go. But the for the forethought or later on, it's we've activated it and it's happening. But what I'm seeing through our children is they're trying to encourage us that, okay, it's broken. Now what do we do? Like they're still looking to the guide. So, okay, thank you.
Yeah. And that's the good part. That's how you know the healing is happening within the generation. Because see, now my children are coming to me and say, Mom, they're having a conversation, meaning they're searching themselves. They desire healing. And that's very, very important. Come on through here, Regina, baby. Thank you, Shannon.
Hi, Tracy. It's actually Renee.
Oh, it says Regina's phone.
Yeah, it's my cell phone. It's on my cell phone. I'm like still driving, but I did wanted to say.
Can you come in on the video so I can see your pretty face?
Oh, hold on. I'm actually in my car. Hold on.
Yes, I need your energy too.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
That's good. Well, I didn't want to. I'll just say this: like, I'm in school and in nursing school, and I'm actually learning on the side like different things about midwifery and the history of it. And one thing in slavery and Black women in slavery, and one thing I will say is that so many Black women were raped and violated against their will while while we were enslaved on these plantations not too long ago. And I think a lot of Black women are still feeling and still experiencing, unfortunately, those strongholds from those times.
You're absolutely right. Our men are too. The men
yeah,
too.
I'm
They
sorry.
too were raped.
Yep. And just all of us. I mean, all of our ancestors. So a lot of times, I think a lot of people, Black men, Black women, and children are still experiencing those experiences that our ancestors went through on those plantations, unfortunately, and that's a stronghold.
I agree. I totally agree. We actually, I'm gonna be real with all of you. We actually have a psychosis, and we all have forms of mental illness because of that. I think every Black person needs to be in therapy. However, we need to also change the therapy model for us. We can't go to them for our healing. See, this kind of where we get thrown off. We can't go to the oppressor and want their healing techniques to heal us. We are different people. As melanated people, we associate and get our healing from spirit. You see what I'm saying? We're very spiritual people. You know, some people that are from, melanated, they don't necessarily call themselves that they believe in God, but they know of energy. See what I'm saying? They know about energy. They know about frequency. They know about vibrations. So that's all God. Go ahead.
I think a lot of the stuff that they teach us, because I went to therapy a few times, and I feel like a lot of this stuff is a little, is not really always accurate and stuff like that, So I do agree with that too. Like, we have to build like something for our own, and also go to our ancestors for those teachings as well, because there's actually ancestral teachings with that. And I'm actually just finding that out because I've just found a book at the Black bookstore about the Light of Africa. And it's all about ancient African psychology. And I thought that psychology, but it actually came from the Black people.
It talks about the Ka, the Ba, and the Ra.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, ancient. I have that book. So that's good. See, the very fact that you are in your research process, you're in your investigation. So what you want to do is they do have some models and some things that we can learn from and we can receive. But some of that stuff got to go out with the baby with the bathwater, because a lot of their psychology is always about being superior. So they're going to write from a superior perspective. And us as melanated people, we're a very united people. We're not one over the other. We don't do the whole hierarchy thing. The only reason that we are practicing a hierarchy now is because we are here in this land. But indigenously speaking, it was always one for the whole and the whole for one. Indigenously speaking, most indigenous cultures, it's always one for all and all for one. You see what I'm saying? It's never the one over the other. It's never about the dichotomy. So we have to remember, when we are going in to begin our healing process or to continue with our healing processes, we have to think from an indigenous psychology. We have to think from indigenous spirituality. We have to go back. We have to go back and remember who we are and go back to our guides. That's why I feel stuck in need therapy, but I know they can't help me. Honey, I got me a Black therapist that have African strategies, honey. And I tell you, she is opening me up miles and miles, honey. She's doing great work. She too understands that this psychology and that they have is, it's about, it's whitewashed, They have some good methods though, but you got to take what you can. And I'm congratulations on being in school and doing your research and stuff, Regina. Renee, and thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome, baby. All right, anyone else? Anyone else have anything they want to say, share about this topic? Come on, sacred woman, baby. Come on with the video now. Don't try to play me.
Greetings, greetings, greetings.
How are you, Shaquana?
Greetings, I'm well. I am doing research on my family and background just because I'm getting my PhD and I'm learning the same thing. Like my grandmother, as they call it, was loose on both sides of the family, not just my mom's side, but my father's side as well. I spent Christmas with my father's mother, my grandmother, and she's telling me Like all this time, I'm 41 years old. I never knew I had an aunt. She's like, yeah, I have a daughter. I'm like, she just said it like out of the blue. I'm like, what do you mean you have a daughter? You have 4 sons. What are you talking about? She's like, no, I had kids when I was like 15, 16, and then I got married at 18, and then the rest of them came. I'm like, what?
Mm,
I'm
that was
like,
good to
okay.
know. That was good
I'm
to
like,
know.
yeah, I'm like, everything's starting to make sense to me, and me coming on this call is even more confirmation. I'm like, that's why things were happening to my grandmother, but she didn't want to talk about it. Things happened to my mom. She didn't want to talk to my mom about it. My mom would talk to me about it. And just so happens that I went through the same thing.
It passed through.
It's time to stop. That's
Yes.
it. We're done.
Yes. Yes. And the very fact that you are here tonight on this masterclass, you the chosen one. Everyone that is on this masterclass was called to come here. Everyone is here because you needed to hear this message. You needed this information because you are the chosen one for this generation. It is up to you to pass that whatever healing tools you receive, whatever healing that you complete, whatever you do in this generation, you are going to be passing it genetically to the next one in the next generation. Understand that. Genetically, you are changing the frequency of the DNA by the healing work that you do. Isn't that deep? Now think about it. Mama and grandmama and granddaddy and auntie and all them, they didn't have no sources of healing. And the sources of healing that they did have with the roots and the herbs and the candles and the incantations and the prayers and the going to the earth and working with the elements, they called it voodoo. Right? The healing that they did have, they called it voodoo. So they stripped us of what we knew, how we knew how to go to the earth and make conscious shifts to heal the family. Grandmama knew how to make a salve. Uncle knew how to make a cough syrup. You know what I'm saying? Why? We couldn't go into the hospitals. You was melanated. You couldn't go to hospitals and clinics. So you had to do all that at home. You had to learn how to cast and fix a broken bone at home. We had to learn how to deliver babies at home. We have to get back to that because that's where the healing is. They are calling you home. They are calling you. That's why you were here on this call. I'm so glad you got that information, even though it was a shock, Shaquan. I know you was like, what? Wait a minute. She just said it like she asked you if you want a drink of water.
Yep, like a normal conversation. I'm like, okay. And that just made me ask her more questions. She's 84 years old and she was open to talk about it. Wow. That was like, made it better. You know what I'm saying? Because my transition last year, she mum's the word. She wouldn't talk about nothing.
That's so beautiful, though, that she's 84 now. She's talking. I would go over there and fix her favorite food. I'd fix her favorite cake, whatever she liked to drink, whatever she wants, honey. She'd get it, and I'd sit there at her feet and get all the good, juicy stories. I'd get them all. If y'all have an auntie, grandmama, somebody, an uncle, somebody, go over there with their favorite food, their favorite drink, or something, their favorite pack of cigarettes, whatever. Go over there and get the info. Get it. So that way you could kind of dig a little deeper and understand what the bloodline, what y'all working with. You know, and once again, I want to say everything is not all bad. They also transmuted and transmitted some really good stuff. Right? I know for me, my family is super creative and effective and very versatile. Keisha said her mama won't talk. It might not come from your mama, Keisha. It might not come from your mama. Your mama got a sister who talk a lot. She might be the messy one. Go
right?
to the
What's with the tight lip?
Go to the messy ones.
Yeah, where they at?
Yeah.
I love that story. I love it. It's like, I don't know, right place at right time, man.
Yeah, you got to go to the messy ones. Thank you, Shaquana. Come on in here, Keisha. Unmute yourself and come talk to me, baby. Keisha.
Yes, I'm here. Hi.
Hey, Keisha, how are you? You got to go find you a messy auntie.
Yeah, my family's really small and my auntie is really ill right now, but I'm gonna try to find somebody. I'm gonna try to find somebody to talk to because like I just went to my mother this morning, earlier today actually, and she just, walked away. She was like, mm-mm. And I was like, we ain't even started, So, she was like, no, I'm dealing with too much. I'm not dealing with this. Like, you don't even know what this is. She was like, nope. Mm-mm. I was like, okay.
Well, a lot of it's very painful. And see, that's even more reason why we got to get to it. Because if she not dealing with it, think what grandmama and grandpapa didn't deal with. Think what auntie and them back them past them didn't deal with. See, our people, they was raised just to get through. Just get through. Don't think about it. Don't do nothing. Just get to the next point because we have to what? Survive. As Black people, as melanated people, we are not taught to live. We are taught to how to survive. Understand that. Right. We stay in survival mode, especially Black women. We stay on autopilot survival mode. We are always thinking about what's next. We stay in this in anxiety. We all have a level of anxiety because we're always trying to keep up and keep things going ahead and making sure everything is good because naturally speaking as Black women, and it's not natural, forgive me for that, I take that word back. I want to say it's common. It's not natural, nor is it normal, but it's common that we usually have a sense of insecurity about our well-being and about how we are going to provide for ourselves and our children. There's a little, there's always some insecurity there and anxiety.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, shit, with our men too. They be right there in the damn house and they still be feeling.
Right.
Trying to figure out what and feeling some insecurity of how are we gonna make this thing happen and work and how we gonna get to the next month. Yeah. But see, that's something that was passed down from our generation because that's how they felt. Mm-hmm. Think about it. They was combining and coming together to make things happen to survive. I want everyone just to think for a minute if we just took our minds off of being in survival mode. If we could just take our mind away from how the mortgage or the rent was going to be paid, how the car note was going to be paid, how the insurance was going to be paid, making sure that we have enough to cover everything, making sure just for 1 minute, if we could just take our minds off of how our needs were going to be met. Most of us can't even imagine how that even feels. What kind of relaxed state of being we will be in. How creative we can become. Just not having that kind of pressure. I said I could try, but it won't happen. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Because we've been taught to survive, not to live. We've been taught to survive. And that's why we are so resourceful as Black people. We can make anything out of anything, baby. We're going to make it happen. That's why we have invented everything, because we're resourceful. That's why we're so creative, and we've invented everything that we use to this day has been created by a melanated person. Yes. Shannon said, you close your eyes tight, you're still not sleepy, not sleepy. Yes. But it's especially the Black woman, because we are considered strong and we are constantly in a space of saving the family. You know that, right? Because that's what was embedded in us when our land was taken, when we were, you know, some of our ancestors was brought over here and, or, you know, enslaved, or, you know, and the reason I say when the land was taken is because we was here before them. We was already here. All of us didn't come here on no slave ships. Some of our people, this is their land. We was already here. But the land was stolen, meaning we had to go in survival mode. So this survival piece is something. It's really something. But see, one thing that I recognize about this new generation, and then we're gonna move on, is that, honey, this new generation, they don't care nothing about that shit. That shit we be worried about going through and all that, baby. These some new type of kids, honey. These some star seeds, honey. They some new type of babies. They coming out, speaking, talking, walking. Baby, they is not, girl, we looking like, is this our child? Yes, honey, the ancestors that came back through on this new level, with this new age, with this information age, with this technology. Baby, these kids finna make some changes, some big changes, not just to the DNA, but to the consciousness of the earth. So that's why it's so important that we definitely create a signature blueprint on DNA now with what we do. Because when we heal, we are actually shifting and changing the DNA. We are encoding it for the next generation, right? All right. Does anybody have, thank you, Keisha, I appreciate you. Anybody have anything else before I move on? Anything else? All right. So why are we all here? All right, we're gonna get to it. We're gonna get to it, sugar. All right. So why are we all here? I have created a system. I have been teaching this system for 2 years with the African Mystery Schools. Me and Makosi Ateo have been teaching this system. I've been over on her platform teaching her students this system, and Spirit has led me to share this system with you, with others outside of her community. So it is the metaphysics of the womb, healing through ancestral trauma. Learn the metaphysics of the womb, creation, and the knowledge of your ancestors and your soul contract in this 6-week webinar course. You will receive information, tools, and rituals that will help you to release ancestral trauma and support self-care and generational healing. Okay, generational healing. So I'm going to go into the curriculum really quick so that you can see what the course curriculum is. This is the course curriculum. We are going to start off with healing through ancestral trauma. You're going to get your workbook, your manual, and your outline. Then we're going to go in week 1 with the metaphysics of the womb. We're going to do a video course, and each course has a work assignment attached to it, right? All right. The second module is what is your womb story? We're going to do the science of DNA and epigenetics. So everything I basically covered, we're going to go in more deep, more higher, more deeper, more broader, more wider, right? So we're going to go in on each subject and get a really clear understanding. Our third module is sex in our transmission, the science of metaphysical sex, birth gates. Your birth gates. What birth gate did you come through? Very important to know. How sex was created, how the actual act of sex and how it was done and created for you to come, the portal you came through. That's all part of your birth gate. Okay. Ancestral DNA patterns. That's module 4, the 7 layers of DNA trauma. Module 5 is birth process traumas, identifying with your birth process traumas. So there's traumas passing through the womb, in the hospital, during delivery. Okay. Also, module 6 is how to heal from ancestral trauma. So we'll go into the releasing the strongholds, releasing generational afflictions, and methods of healing. So we get pretty deep over here, y'all. Get pretty deep, right? So let me explain to you that this course is actually $125. However, if you would like to enroll in this course tonight, okay, you can enroll for just $25 off. So, matter of fact, $50 off, because what I did is I created a link where you could actually get this course for $75 right now. It's a 6-week course. You will actually, I will offer as well is the V-STEAM for self-care course for those of you who have not taken that course yet. You also will get V-STEAMing for self-care, because there's a lot of tools for healing the feminine body and the feminine womb with that, right? So with your manual, your workbook, your outline, each module comes with assignments, work assignments. This webinar, like I said, is 6 weeks. It releases strongholds and afflictions. We go through 7 methods of healing, and it starts Sunday, January 22nd, 2022. All right, through March 5th, 2023. That is 7 weeks. However, one of those Sundays, I have another schedule. So that's why I created that schedule. So if you are interested, I would definitely love for us all to be together and be able to witness each other's beautiful format to healing and process and come together as sisters, because as women, when we get together, honey, we heal. When we get together, we heal, right? How many of y'all know that? How many of y'all know when we get together, we heal? Nothing, you are right, Shannon, nothing more powerful than women healing. So if you are interested and you want to get your $50 discount, I have just put the link in the chat. So you can go purchase your 6-week program. This discount ends tomorrow at 11:30 p.m. So I'd advise you to go get it now. 11:30 p.m. 11:30 a.m. 11:30 a.m. So yes, I'm already promised and LOL at you. Yes. Yes. So are there any questions? I would love for you to go through this 6-week webinar with me. It will be recorded. So if you happen to miss one, you will be able to get the recording. And we are going to go through this together as a community of women that we are supporting change, the change in directions of our families, the change in directions of our individual lives, so that we can continue to promote healing for the generations past and the generations to come. And this is going to help each of you mothers. Even if you haven't birthed a child, you are a mother to somebody, because that's what we do as women. We mother, we nurture. So having this healing information is going to help you recognize some of the characteristics and behaviors that you've actually shared with your children that have activated certain DNA cellular memories, right? So this is going to help us to really be able to restore and do some great healing work. So are there any questions? Are there any questions? Tell me right now who's going to sign up. Go ahead and put a 1 in the chat if you are ready to sign up for this amazing 6-week webinar opportunity. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Come on now. We done got the information. Now it's time for us to do the work. I'm very solution-based. I'm very solution-based. My thing is always, if you come to me with a challenge or a problem, I'm always, okay, I'll listen to it. And then it's like, okay, what we gonna do? What's the solution? I'm always solution-based, right? So if you're ready, I'd advise you to go ahead and click that link in the chat so that you could save your space and get $50 off right now. And after 11:30 tomorrow, it does go up to $125. You can go to lovemywombacademyonline.com and you can go purchase it. So you still will be able to add yourself to our 6-week healing through ancestral trauma, the metaphysics of the womb webinar. And it will, we'd love to have you. Okay. Any questions, concerns, comments? I'm ready to do this work with y'all. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. You've heard my story. You heard my story, and I've come a long way. And this is some of the ways that I actually did it. I've implemented this in my own life to help me overcome a lot of pain, a lot of hurt, a lot of grief, a lot of trauma. So if you're ready to really do the work and say you about that life, then go ahead and click that link. Anybody else have anything they want to say? You want to share?
I just want to say thank you so much for everything. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Renee. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. Yes, for showing up for you. Everybody here showed up for themselves today. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody have anything else before we end this evening? You're welcome, Latoya. You're welcome. You're welcome, Shannon. Yes.
I just have a question about the link.
Yes.
After you pay, are you able to log into the learning portal to get the information?
I'm going to put you in the learning portal by tomorrow, but the information is not there yet because we're doing a live webinar every Sunday. That's the actual curriculum, but every Sunday we're going to meet at 11 o'clock, starting on January 22nd. That's going to be the first day of the webinar. Yes, we're having a live class for 6 weeks.
Oh, okay. Because
Yeah.
I know I'm in the teachable portion, so I was just wondering.
We're having a live class for 6 weeks. So even though I'm going to put everyone in that actual portal, but you're going to get a link because that's how I'm going to communicate with everybody. I'm going to communicate with everybody through email through that portal. So you're going to get a link and you're going to get information the day before, a couple of days before of our class time and you know how to meet up and everything. Okay, so this is actually a live webinar. This is the first one that I'm actually serving the community outside of the women I've already taught. I've taught probably about 200 women this actual training. So if you're ready, come on, honey. Hey, Patty. All right now. So are we done? Are we done? Is this it? Did we put a fork in it? What's going on? Everybody good? So this evening, I hope everything was well to your liking. I hope I brought value, information. I was able to share some wisdom. How many of you would say that this training actually helped you to connect and identify with healing your ancestral trauma? If you feel that the price of the class right now is $75. If you go click the link in the chat. And if you feel like this training has brought you value and it was shared wisdom and knowledge, go ahead and put a 1 in the comments for me. I need y'all. I need y'all. I need my sisters. Great, great, great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, goddesses. I appreciate all of you. Now, may you go forth this evening. May you be well rested. I know I done put some stuff on y'all's minds. Some of y'all gonna dream on it. Some of y'all gonna go to sleep, be like, somebody gonna come to you tonight, grandmama, grandpa, something. Somebody light gonna flicker on and off. I'm telling y'all. Somebody, you gonna turn on the TV and a commercial gonna come on and the man gonna say the person's name on the commercial. You're gonna be like, it's happening because we didn't opened up the doorway. Now we didn't open the gate now, y'all. All right, this class is recorded. So I thank all of you. I will be resharing this class as an intro to the actual training. Okay, to the actual training. So if somebody would like to, yeah, I know me, right? And for all of our seers out there and oracles, you already know they come to speak with you tonight. All right, they're gonna say, y'all called me up. All right, have a good evening. Thank you so much for being present. Peace, blessings.